Hello, I'm Sergeant Javier Salazar, and this is Behind the Badge. It's a whole new world in law enforcement from 20, 10, or even 5 years ago. There are new developments every day as crime and criminals evolve and law enforcement stays ahead of the game. New tools and techniques pop up every day. Some come and go, while others stick around. One of these tools, social media, seems to be here to stay for the foreseeable future. Here at the SAPD, we rely heavily on our social media platforms to help us with a variety of functions. Today, we'll talk about the success we've enjoyed with our social media programs, and we'll look into the future a bit to see what we have in store. Also on the show today, we'll talk about another issue that unfortunately is nothing new to law enforcement. Family violence continues to plague us as a society. Of course, this is not an issue we take lying down here in the Alamo City. We'll be talking to one of our foremost experts on the subject, and we'll hear about an interesting program that helps SAPD deal with this very real problem. Before we get to that, we'll be sharing some exciting news for us here at the SAPD Media Services Office. It's going to be a packed half hour, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As you may already know, Behind the Badge is produced by the SAPD Media Services Office. As the director of the office, I'm proud to announce a couple of new developments to our viewers. We've added 2 new public information officers, or PIOs, to the office. Now, neither of these 2 people sitting next to me are new faces here on Behind the Badge. However, they'll now be playing a bigger part in the media office's day-to-day operations. I'd like to formally introduce you to our 2 new PIOs, Officer Misty Floyd and Officer Doug Green. Misty and Doug, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Now listen, you guys, of course I know why I picked you guys. Y'all were handpicked, and you bring a lot of experience to the table. So I'd like to share with our viewers what exactly it is that makes you guys tick, what attracted you to this kind of work, and why you're here today. So Misty, where are you coming to us from?
I'm actually coming from patrol. I worked East Patrol Tango.
Okay. And, you know, before your time with the SAPD, you had some prior experience with the military, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir. I initially, I got my experience from college. I went to Troy State University in Troy, Alabama. And then in the military, I was a paralegal at 27 Delta with the Army. And then on the broadcasting side, I was a broadcast journalist for the Air Force, featuring stories and broadcasting for Air Force Now.
Okay. So that was quite a bit of training that went into that. It was a school called, what would help me with that?
DIMFOS was the school, and it's at Fort Meade, Maryland. So I had to audition, do a voice audition to see if my voice was even trainable to make it to the school. And then it was very extensive training, very challenging.
Okay, and how long was the school?
The school was 4 months, at bare minimum 40 hours a week, and then it was quite a bit of time dedicated outside of the classroom to perfect it, to pass.
Okay, so here in our language we call it being a PIO, but in the military it's called something different.
It's a public affairs officer, and so there's the print side of the house, and then there's the broadcasting side. And I was really kind of torn initially to see which one I really would be more passionate about, and I figured that the broadcasting side was more of a challenge for me. The technical aspect was the most challenging, so I picked that side.
Okay. Well, I mean, as our Behind the Badge viewers can attest to, you've done well here since your time. That's why we kept you. So you know we love having you here. Doug, I know that you had quite an extensive background before you were a policeman too. Well, let me back up a bit. Where are you coming to us from?
Just like Misty, I'm coming from patrol. I'm coming from Central, and I work the Central Patrol Tango shift.
Okay, so those are nighttime hours?
Those are nighttime hours, yes.
All right, so you're having a little trouble staying awake, right?
I'm still adjusting, yeah.
Well, that internal clock, I've been around here for 20 years. You'll catch up on your sleep patterns before too long, and you'll get the family life adjusted. I can tell you it's going to come along. Can you tell us a little bit about your background before you were a policeman? What was it that brought you to this career field?
Well, Sergeant, I can tell you, ever since I was a little kid, you know, my mom got me a video camera when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and I always loved playing with the camera. And then and when I went to high school in Woodsboro, Texas, they started a video production team. And so that really sparked my interest. So I decided to pursue my career in my education in communications. So I went to Del Mar College in Corpus Christi, Texas, got my radio, TV, and film, and my associates there. And then I transferred to Texas A&M Corpus Christi and got my bachelor's degree in communications with emphasis on media. And all while along I was going to school, I was also working at the NBC affiliate in Corpus Christi, Texas as a technical director.
Oh, wow. Okay, and then I guess at some point you moved up to the big leagues.
Absolutely. Then I said if I was going to do this career, I wanted to go, straight to the top. And so, my wife and I packed up and we headed to Los Angeles, and I applied out there for a couple of TV stations, got hired on with a TV station called LATV, and worked with them as a technical director and as a master control operator and the digitizer, and it was just a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, both of those career paths that y'all took got you here, and we're happy to have you. I'm really excited about some of the things that we're going to do. Misty, real quick, can you just kind of tell us some of your plans for the near future? What are your plans for this office and for the department?
I think right now, just really growing with social media. It seems to be that everyone is going the social media route, and I really want to grow our office and our department in that direction. Reach out to the public and do a lot more special projects, do community partnership with different events, and really take it to the next level. Okay,
and we're going to be talking about all of that here in just a little bit, a little more in depth. Doug, our Behind the Badge viewers, of course, have seen you on a prior episode because you're a family assistance officer with the department, so they heard you talk about that. Yes, and of course, that was what really first piqued my interest in you as a broadcast person, because I saw that you have a screen presence that's just crazy. And of course, our Behind the Badge viewers have also seen your work on PSAs. So to that end, what do you hope to accomplish here at PIO?
Absolutely. Just like I said, I loved being around the camera. That's my experience. So especially doing projects like that are going to make a difference in the community. That's what I'm excited about. That's what I want to do. The San Antonio Police Department has a great relationship with the community here, and through this, I can take my experience in TV production and with PIO and help enhance that relationship. So I'm very excited. I wouldn't think from a kid from Little Old Woodsboro would get this opportunity. Right. Oh, yeah. And so I'm ready to go.
Right. Well, you guys are both naturals. I'm convinced. The viewers are convinced. I'm excited about the places we're going to go as a team. We're going to rock the house. I have full faith in it. Next up, Officer Misty Floyd will be talking to a very special guest about SAPD's FACT program, which works with victims of family violence. Stick around.
We were on our way to the park, and Dad decided it was still safe not to use the crosswalk.
I was wrong. And my son and I paid for it with our lives.
Crosswalks are there to help protect us. Always cross at a marked crosswalk or an intersection with a signal. Walk safe, San Antonio.
Welcome back. The issue of family violence is something we take to heart here at the SAPD. It's a vicious cycle that sometimes takes generations to break. One of the most remarkable things about family violence is that due to the nature of the abuse and the psychological scars it brings, too many victims have a hard time getting out of the dangerous and even deadly situation that they and sometimes their children may face. Thankfully, people like our SAPD Family Assistance Crisis Team, or FACT workers, are there to help ease the way to a better life for these victims. Here with us today is Miss Jane Schaefer. Miss Jane, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
This is a topic that is just very, very important to our community, and especially to us as law enforcement. Can you tell us what this FACT program is?
Yes, FACT, or the Family Assistance Crisis Team, is a volunteer program that's been in the police department for almost 22 years now.
Wow.
And it started kind of as a grassroots effort to say family violence is part of our community, but we're ignoring it, or we're just acting like it's not there, or there, you know, there was the battered women's shelter, but most people hadn't heard of it 20 years ago. And so we started organizing and saying, well, what's needed? One was a campaign of just education in the public. Part of it was resources began to develop within the community. And then we kept coming across people that wanted to help, but didn't want to make it their life career or something, you know.
So they wanted to just volunteer here and there when they had the opportunity?
So yes, so we organized a program, and first of all, it was within the city structure, but within a couple of months it became very obvious it needed to be in the police department, because that's where people went. They didn't go to whatever other departments, they went to the police. And so a lot of our volunteers are interested in the area of family violence for a variety of reasons. One, some of them have been there and done that and want to give back. Many of them, male and female, have grown up in violent homes and said no one should have to live like that. And others just say that's not a good way for families to live. How can I help? And so this is a structured, somewhat limited way in that we don't expect you to show up every day for 8 hours, you know, but to give back and use their own skills and talents.
And how do you give back? How do you become a volunteer?
Well, as part of the police department, of course, you have to have a background check. So for our purposes, you need to be at least 21 or in college, because some of the college students, juniors and seniors, need, you know, service hours or internships. So if they're in school and it's needed for a class, we'll consider that. Also, they cannot have a criminal background.
Okay.
You know, that's an automatic disqualifier. So outside of that, then we get references. Just because you don't want to come in, we don't take you. You got to prove, because we consider who you're going to be serving and the environment in which you will be.
Well, you want them to be a good fit.
Right.
And it's such a delicate topic, being able to intervene with something like domestic violence, and you want to help, and if you're not trained properly, it could even hinder.
That's right, because a lot of things are a little counterintuitive. You know, most of us just tell people, get out of there. Well, the research and people's history show that's not the least bit helpful. So we have 17 hours of training that they're required to go to, and part of that is what we call Domestic Violence 101, is like telling people to leave doesn't help anything. In fact, it may be putting them in greater danger than if they stayed. And people don't always think of that. Well, why is that? And what are the things you should consider? What are other resources to call in? So we need everyone to have that basic understanding, because we don't want to do any harm. You know.
And there's different avenues that you can volunteer, and that's through the Family Justice Center as well as the substations. Is that correct?
We have the majority of our volunteers are full-time workers, so they need something to do. Volunteer evening time. So we have volunteers that work in the 6 substations on Friday and Saturday nights from 7 in the evening till 2 in the morning.
Okay.
It's partly to enhance services, because most people go home 4:30 or 10 or you know, at 5 o'clock, except for the hospitals and PD and the battered women's shelter, everything else closes down. So sometimes people want to talk to someone that's not a police officer. So that's, you know, that's available. So they're there basically to listen, to give information, to refer to resources, and always we talk about doing a safety plan for people.
When is the next training class?
Our next training class is coming up in July.
Okay.
It's the last 2 Saturdays of July. I think that's the 21st and 28th.
Okay.
And it's from 9 to 4, both Saturdays. It's at the police department. And like I said, if you meet the qualifications, 21, no criminal background, we'd be glad to
Well,
have
this is a great
inquire.
avenue for them to learn how they can go out there and become part of the team.
Absolutely.
I also want to talk just briefly with you about October. October is known as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I've heard that you guys are going to have training October 20th and 21st. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're having, the SAPD is sponsoring a 2-day violence intervention conference. Building community, a united community response. So it'll be at the El Tropicano downtown, those 2 days, full days. We have keynote speakers. One is Mr. Ted Bunch from A Call to Men to look at. This isn't a woman's issue per se.
Right.
We all have to be part of it. And men, if men aren't part of the solution, it's not going to be solved.
Well, I think this is going to be just a fantastic conference, and we'll post more on Facebook for our viewers so that they know how to sign up.
Okay.
And then I look forward to having you on a future episode before the actual training to talk a little bit more about that.
That'd be great.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Jane. Unfortunately, family violence is something that has been around for ages, and our FACT volunteers stand ready to help victims break the cycle of violence. FACT is a valuable tool that we hope to expand as we're able to. Up next, you'll hear us talk about another great tool that we have at the SAPD, social media, and namely Facebook. Sarge, Doug, and I will be talking about our Facebook page and go over our top 5 reasons for our social media success.
I was headed to the hospital to meet my brand new granddaughter. I stepped off the bus and tried to cross the street without looking. I was so excited that I didn't notice traffic hadn't stopped. I never made it across. I never met my granddaughter.
Crosswalks are there to help protect us. Always cross at a marked crosswalk or an intersection with a signal. Walk safe, San Antonio.
SAPD's Facebook page has been in existence for the better part of 2 years. On day one, when the media office took it over, there were 17 followers or likes. That number has grown to surprising levels. Today we're going to tell you just how surprising, and we're going to give you our top 5 reasons for that success over the past 2 years. Now, Sarge, I know you were there towards the beginning of getting the Facebook going. Can you give us kind of like how the then and now of the Facebook page?
Absolutely, Doug. When I came into this job, Chief McManus had given me several points that he wanted me to really hit hard and to expand on. One of those was social media. So, of course, being a 40-something myself, that wasn't something I was really schooled in, but I just kind of learned. I started calling around to other police departments that were already doing it and were meeting with some success, and drawing on their ideas, what they were doing, and trying to emulate that to some extent. I think it's paid off for us. As you mentioned, it's risen to surprising levels.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah,
I know as far as demographics go, we've got about 63% that are female followers, and with our biggest age group being somewhere between 25 and 34, and then the second set would be the 35 through 44.
Right, and that doesn't really surprise me one bit, to tell you the truth. And what I think I can attribute that to is, I'm sure you guys can attest to this. It was the case for me. Of course, the internet wasn't around when I was trying to become a police officer 21 years ago, 22 years ago. But for you guys anyway, when you're looking to apply for the police department, you're trying to take on a career in law enforcement. You're dealing with all the input from your family, and you're researching everything that you possibly can. Right. So that demographic there is probably attributed to a lot of people that are trying to figure out more of what the San Antonio Police Department is all about, and that's great. We encourage that. Do your research, come to us, make with an educated decision, and start your career. So that's what I think that demographic is attributed to. Mm-hmm.
And really, we have followers of all age groups worldwide.
Right. Yeah, like Sarge, I know we have people from from everywhere watching, but what are the top 5 countries that follow us on our Facebook page?
Well, of course, we've got the U.S., but surprisingly, as you get into, these are just the top 5. You got Mexico, Brazil, and then, believe it or not, Italy and Germany round out the top 5 for following.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that when we put something on our Facebook page, somebody in Germany or Italy is reading it, and it's it's something that just never fails to amaze me. We've actually got fans as far away as India, Turkey, Japan, the Netherlands, and every day we're hearing about new countries that people are following us.
As you mentioned earlier, I'm a family assistance officer, and I had the honor of helping the Deckard family. And one thing I recall is that someone from the Netherlands posted their support showing their support for Officer Deckard and for the police department. But the Facebook page was also a way for the family to connect with the community and to communicate with them, and also to kind of be, kind of receive some kind of therapy from observing all the support from all over the world through the Facebook page.
Right. Well, and Bobby's case there was something that our Facebook page went through the roof, just in that was really the family's only way of communicating. They were really concentrating on spending every minute that they could at Bobby's bedside.
Right.
So our Facebook page just really served as their main channel for getting information out. And again, as you mentioned, people were making comments and sending well wishes to the Deckard family from as far away as Europe, the Middle East. I mean, it was all over the place. So our worldwide reach is again what makes this thing just blow up.
Absolutely. And one of the best things that I love, is when we do the first responders roll call. I love that. I love to hear first responders from all over the world call out where they're from, where they're serving from, what hours they work, and that sort of thing. Sarge, you started that, right?
Right. Ann Carrizales, she's from the Stafford PD, and we'll talk to her, and I'm sure in a future episode.
Sure.
But Ann, I would see that on her personal Facebook page, would post to first responders and military, hey, where are you following from? Roll call it out. And so I started doing that on ours, and it was surprising to see that we were getting, Marines from Kandahar and people that were in the Korea, people in Europe, first responders. We had London Metropolitan Police sounding off, Royal Canadian Mounted Police were sounding off.
So cool.
It's neat to be able to just bring everybody together as a brotherhood.
You had some of the local agencies there would respond, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd see some. Hey, I'm Leon Valley, Leon Valley Fire Department, Balcones Heights Police Department. People sounding off from all over, but it was kind of neat to have that all come together on our Facebook page.
The worldwide reach. It really is a worldwide reach.
Right.
Exactly.
And with that, it's really nice that it also allows us to network.
Correct. One of the features that we do on our Facebook page from time to time is our Throwback Thursdays, which, as everybody that does Facebook is familiar with Throwback Thursdays. A lot of people put baby pictures of themselves or pictures from their military days or whatnot. Well, on the SAPD, we started following suit, and we're a historical department. We go back well over 100 years. Yeah. And so what we do from time to time on Thursdays is we'll post a Throwback Thursday pic. It might be a motorcycle officer from the 1920s or, the SWAT team from the 1970s when they very first started. One of these Throwback Thursday pics that we did was a March of Dimes collection that was taking place in Alamo Plaza, and there was a clown in it. And pretty soon KJ from the March of Dimes reached out to me and said, hey, why don't we reenact that photograph? And it started this partnership with the March of Dimes that we got together. We even got a clown, and Misty, you were part of it.
That was a lot of fun.
we reenacted this.
And those were SAPD officers, right?
They were SAPD officers, and then there was a clown that we did some research, and we found out that the clown in that original photograph was a police officer.
Oh, wow.
And so here this time we actually got a clown that's actually, believe it or not, he's a prosecutor with the DA's office. But he dresses up as a clown on his time off. And so we reenacted this photograph. But that started out this network that makes us more approachable to other organizations. So like Any Baby Can is one that just invited us to the March of the Walk for Autism.
Oh, you got to attend that, right?
Yeah, the Fiesta de los Jefes. It was pretty good, right?
Very good.
That was a great opportunity to do a lot of networking. I mean, we also got to communicate with our brothers in red. Also, we networked with them, with Chief Hood and so forth, and lots of nonprofit organizations came out. It was a huge success, a big turnout.
Very big turnout. And then as well as the 100 Club of San Antonio and Big Brothers Big Sisters, and even the military. So.
Oh yeah, the military was huge. They reached out to you through here.
They did. I actually helped coordinate one of the HAVA events, the Honored American Veterans of Field. We did with Wounded Warriors, the San Antonio Training Academy hosted that with the military at Fort Sam. And we had all these Wounded Warriors come out, and we had these pro shooters come out and help them shoot and do kind of one-on-one and big barbecue prizes. Families could come. It was really, really a fun event to kind of bring us together with the military, being that this is Military City, USA.
And so one of the things that we use our social media platforms for a lot is crime fighting. It's a crime fighting tool. We've seen that on cases, and the way it started out is we would have these Crime Stoppers alerts that come out. fugitives, unsolved crimes, cold cases that we would put out. And we would ask people to come forward and give us information on it. And that thing just took off on us. I mean, we've had all kinds of interesting stories happen to us since then, because it worked.
The Catch Me If You Can is the first one that comes to mind.
Correct. Okay, the Catch Me If You Can, that started out, and what it was is I was at home on a Saturday morning, bored, and got on the SAPD Facebook page and started monitoring it. Somebody sent us a private message it was a video, obviously a helmet cam of a motorcycle rider just shooting through traffic and just showing complete disregard for safety. As I do with tips that come in, I forward it to SARIC, our intelligence center. They did some research on it. They found out who this guy was. They tracked it to a Facebook page and found that the person associated with that Facebook page actually had some felony warrants, or a felony warrant. We put it out on social media. Media ran with it. Next thing you know, that thing went worldwide.
I woke up in the morning and I saw it on CNN. I didn't see it on any of the local news. I said, "Wow, this happened in San Antonio." So I didn't realize that, and it spread fast. It's a big story.
Yeah, it took off on us, and that's just one of the aspects. So I know that one of the things that attracts people to us is we're actually interactive. Okay, we've got, like, for example, on our front page, we've got a submit a tip button that you can go on there and you can submit a tip and remain anonymous. It goes to our intelligence center, and even the detective taking in the information has no clue who that is. They're just giving their information, remaining anonymous. That's something that they can do. Additionally, they can send it to us as a private message, and people are surprised to know that those are read, those messages are read, we reply to them, and then we submit it up the chain for investigation.
So it's a way for citizens to connect with us as human beings.
Correct. And again, that takes us to our fifth point of why we're successful, is our human element. Some of our most successful points, and just in talking about it before this, we were talking about some of the more successful posts. One that springs to mind for me anyway was an officer that just answered a 911 call. It was a panic alarm on an alarm. He showed up, and it was one of the children that had pressed the button. And the officer took the time to take some pictures with the kids. Showed him his patrol car, and it was a little 2-year-old girl and her 3-year-old brother. And Mom was so impressed with that she forwarded us pictures, and we put it on Facebook, and it blew up on us.
That's sweet.
It took off.
One of my favorite ones that got, I think it was 1.3 million hits, was Officer Tilson and the pit bull Mac that he rescued, and gave him some food and took him to Animal Care Services and followed up with him after his shift was over. That got a big response.
We talked so heavily about Facebook today, and we could probably devote 2 whole shows to our social media platforms. We've got our YouTube channel that people don't realize that we have one, but we put our PSAs on there, we put our shows on there. We'd like people to check that out. Additionally, we've got a Twitter feed that is linked to Facebook. So this show here, Behind the Badge, as you know, can be seen on our Twitter feed, on our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel. We just ask the public to check it out. Thank you guys for today. This was an interesting talk. We're going to have to do this again.
Sure,
This
thank
was great.
you.
Yeah. Stay there. We'll be right back.
Once again, I thank Doug and Misty for helping me get the word out about this successful and valuable social media program here at the SAPD. Being that social media looks as if it's here to stay, we hope to expand into other platforms similar to Facebook and Twitter to continue to help us fight crime and keep the world informed. In coming months, we hope to bring you more news about other programs available to us and to you, the citizens we serve. No doubt, we'd also like to mention our world champion San Antonio Spurs. Our home team fought hard to take the championship series in 5 games. As fate would have it, they got to win the series here at home. The entire team contributed to the championship season, but the true MVPs of the season were our San Antonio fans. They took to the streets and celebrated in true San Antonio fashion. Although the crowds were large and loud, they were very well behaved, and as usual, here in San Antonio, we know how to celebrate responsibly. The celebration saw no major mishaps, and it was just a great time. Of course, it was the honor of the men and women of the SAPD to protect and serve as the celebration carried on into the morning hours. Now, once again, thanks San Antonio for giving us the privilege to serve you. Hopefully we'll be doing it again next year and showing the world yet again how we Spurs fans celebrate. Go Spurs, go! Until next time, we'd love to hear about how you think we're doing. Send us ideas on what you'd like to see and hear more of at behindthebadge@sanantonio.gov. As always, check out our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/San Antonio PD. From all of us here at Behind the Badge, thanks for watching.